Okay, do I have audio? I do have audio. All right. Well, I don't know how well this is going to work. Pardon me for not being on screen at the moment. But I'm coming. I'm coming. Here I am. I'm on the screen. You can see me. Here I am. Anyway. Welcome to my workshop, which is much more suited for woodworking than it is for podcasting, video casting, vodcasting, streaming, whatever you want to call this. It's much more suited to that because let me tell you, I've had some issues this morning just trying to get this live. But so far it looks like it's working. So I'm going to have to go to my page here and pull it up just to make sure. So pardon me while I go over here and do things on the computer. I do want to make sure, because I've had so many issues with audio this morning, I've had to change my audio sources and some other stuff around. And yeah, it definitely not going the way I had hoped it would, but let me see here. This is live right now. It says so right here. Well, there we go. Okay, that's working. So I was getting this horrible, it sounded like I was in the middle of a gigantic machine shop with like 1,000 machines running, coming right through my mind. I have no idea what was going on with the audio. But anyway, it was frustrating to say the least. And hopefully this one being live is going to work. I didn't go to Twitch. I guess I should check Twitch. So pardon me while I Twitch here, just to make sure, because you know, it doesn't do me any good to do this if you guys can't hear me. That's kind of like the whole point. So
unless they really got 3 Zions in the same pack, could this have happened? Look at this. They might have got 3 Zions. I think that's
okay. We don't need to see that, but we do need to see this. So let's see. Yeah. Yep. That's working. We don't need to see that, but we do. We'll pause. I'm going to pause that. We'll play that, but we'll just turn the volume way down. There we go. That's what we just mute that because I need to have that open to check if there's anybody signing in or doing anything else. All right. So the last thing I would like to try, since this seems to be working now and I have audio going in the way it's supposed to do, is I would like to try to bring Facebook in. And it's cold in my shop. It's 54 degrees in my shop right now. It's chilly in here. I've got a little heater running. I can't run my giant heater because that would just be too much noise and you wouldn't hear me talk. So anyway, if you all would give me just 1 second, I will be right back. I'm gonna walk over to my computer, which is over behind the cameras. You can't really see it. I mean, I know I've got one, you can see it over my shoulder here, but that's actually my CNC computer. I don't stream from that because, well, it couldn't, it would just barf. It couldn't handle it. But and I've got my laptop here, but I'm not streaming from my laptop either. So this is just where I'm like laptop. So I'm just checking for like comment feeds and things like that from everybody who might be watching, looking. Nobody's going to be watching or looking. But anyway, on the rare chance that somebody would actually tune in, I would like to be able to see their comments if they have them. So the last thing I want to do is try to add in Facebook. So bear with me for one second. Okay, maybe more than one. I'll keep talking to you though. So I'm still here. I'm just over behind the scenes because Facebook's a little harder for me to kind of get going here. I have to go into Facebook and I have to get a streaming key to do this. Normally I would set all this up in the getting ready screen, but I wanted to go ahead and try adding one component at a time here because, well, you know, I just wanted to see if things were working. I've had so much issue with the audio today that which was not what I was thinking would be my problem. I was not thinking I was going to have audio issues. I was thinking it would be more like streaming issues or something else, but definitely wasn't planning on the audio issues. And that has really caught me off guard. It was really not what I was expecting. So this should go. Let me click, see if it says it's broadcasting. I have to finish setting it up. So I have to actually put a title in here. One more test for the win. So sorry about all the issues, but audio is hard. Thanks for your patience. I am not the world's best typist, but let's go live. All right. So, should be live now. I'm going to go back to my OBS setup here because that's where I can see things. It says everybody's broadcasting. It says we're streaming. And I'm going to actually start recording this just in case I need to go back and review footage, or I might want to just make something out of it. All right, so it appears as though everything is working the way it's supposed to. Who knows? We'll see. I'm going to check the audio again here just to make sure. I'm going to go back. Okay, so that's still working. Okay, well, you know, earlier in the all the unseen videos and such, I had a lot of stuff that I had gone through and talked about and did a little shop tour and everything else, and didn't realize that my audio was being complete garbage at that time. So none of that was actually very successful, and which makes me sad because I think that, you know, I put a lot of good stuff into that, and for it not to be, not to have been able to be seen or accessible to you guys is kind of disappointing, because that's really what I was hoping for. So let me see if this one is working here. Okay, I need to make this large. There we go. Put a lot of good stuff into that, and for it not to be okay, and I don't want that open either. I turned the audio down. I need to be able to see the comments if you all have any comments, which I doubt you will. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure that I could address those if necessary. So where to start? Because I feel like I've started 5 times already today. It's already 1 o'clock. And I haven't done a thing in the shop today, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to, you know what, instead of doing this whole big intro thing that I did before, I am going to go ahead and just kind of pick up where I left off with this stuff. And then I'll explain what I'm doing as I go. So let me grab a drill driver here. So I'm making a test right now for, oops, some hinges that I'm working on. This is for a knockdown table. So this table will be consisting of several pieces. Well, here's an example right here. So this is one set of legs. You can see there's tape, right? There's tape here and there's tape here, right? So what's going to happen is these are going to be hinged, so you can see how they're separate. So these will be hinged. Right now I just have them together because I haven't put the hinges in here, but they will be hinged, and those hinges will allow that one leg to fold over on itself, and the whole table basically comes apart. The top folds in half, the 2 sets of legs fold in half. The only thing that doesn't fold in half is the cross member, which looks kind of like, pardon me, this would be one of the cross members right here. So a set of legs would go here, a set of legs would go here, and there's 2 of these, so it would provide stability. This is for a sewing machine. The sewing machine will fit into a hole there's going to be a hole inside of the top, and then the machine will fit in the hole and rest on that cross member. So anyway, in order to do this, I need to get these hinges in here so that the two pieces that fit together are held together, like the two legs and the tabletop. But I need to have the spacing on the hinges done just right. Let me see if I can get this turned on here, and I'll show you a little bit more what I'm talking about. So I'm going to switch cameras here for you. If this camera wants to wake up, which it never does. Wake up, little Susie. Wake up. There we go. Okay. So this, I've kind of, let me pull this out. There we go. So what I did was I've created a template on my CNC machine to use a pattern bit on my router, which is right here. It has a bearing, and that bearing rides inside of the edge, and I can route out the exact size and shape that I need for my hinge. I also did, you can see there's a smaller one right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a small square hole. That actually is what I used to drill out the deeper section in the middle of this, which hopefully you can see. There's a, well, here, I'll show you right here. Get close up. So there's a deeper routing section right here, which basically allows for this part. Whoop, there you go. So this part of the hinge, you can see, sticks down. It's about 1/4 of an inch, whereas this part of the hinge is only about 1/8 of an inch. So I do a thin route right here for the flat part of the hinge, and then I do a deeper pocket right here for the actual hinge portion, the mechanics of the hinge. And it worked out great. I mean, the hinges and stuff fit in there fine. The problem I have is that I need to, when I put the hinges in there, see how these actually marry together really nicely. But when I put the hinge in there, I think it's actually not allowing this wood to set exactly where I want. So I need to put a couple little spacers in when I put only when I install the hinges. And by spacers, I mean like maybe a playing card or two, that thickness, something just like slightly like a thick piece of paper kind of thickness, like a playing card. And only when I install the hinges, when I drill the holes, because you can see these fit in here, but I think if they were just spaced just a tiny bit like that, then what'll happen is then it will actually fit flush, because right now it's not fitting flush for whatever reason. So, and I don't know if it's something that I could fix here, because I can feel it sort of rocking, and I don't think it's getting quite, I could try to trim that out just a little bit more too. I mean, I don't care if I lose a little bit here. It doesn't really matter. So let me look and see here. Because what I'm looking at is, yeah, so I think that's the problem. Okay, so here's the problem. I think I need to have a little space in between, so this hinge actually needs to be right, that part of the hinge right here needs to be very flush with this part of the wood right here. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it or not, if I turn it this way, you can see that it's flush right now, but when I actually have this hinge set all the way back in, that part actually sets just a hair below there. So if I actually have these spaced out a little bit when I put it in, then I think it'll actually work a little better. Yeah, that's gonna work. Okay, I know what I'm doing now. So when I put this in here, had I drilled these holes, is that flush with that? Yeah. Yeah, so I had these hinges are set back in here just a touch too much. Now the problem is they don't, it's kind of weird, but there's a little gap right here, right? So there's a little tiny gap between the hinge, and that means that there will be a gap like on the tabletop and stuff. So that kind of, it's not great. But anyway, that's why I'm doing it with a piece of wood here and not with the actual legs. I want to get everything done beforehand, and then once I figure out exactly how I need to do to get these together, then I can go ahead and move on, because all of the legs are cut, all of the tabletops and the cross members are all done. I showed you just a second ago, let me go back to my regular camera here. I did all these from a template that I made. I bought a design from somebody on Facebook for this, because you know it's nice to support creators. So I bought this, and it's actually a very large sheet of paper with all the plans on here and everything. There we go. So I took this and I laid it out with some basically tracing paper, very large tracing paper people use for tracing dress patterns and things like that, and traced onto the tracing paper. I then took the tracing paper and glued that onto some MDF right here, which I like to use MDF for my patterns. This is 3/4. I would have actually preferred 1/2 inch, but I didn't have any 1/2 inch around, and I had a bunch of this, so I didn't really see a need to go buy more MDF when I already had some on stock. So I used the 3/4 inch to make all the patterns. Then I traced those out on the pieces of wood, cut the pieces of wood out, and now I'm down to the point where I need to install the hinges. So and the reason I did it instead of just doing it right on the wood is that it lets me make sure that all of the fitting is right. See, because the way these fit together is you've got these slots, and these slots need to interact with each other. And so this let me fine tune this before I actually transfer this to my final piece of wood. But you can see as I fit those together that they fit together, they're in the right spot, they create the right surface up here for the tabletop. So it allows me to really fine tune that. The other reason is that if I want to make more of these in the future, I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I can just grab a template. I use the template, I trace out my wood, I cut it out really quickly, kind of close to the line on my bandsaw back here, and then I use a pattern bit on my router table, trim it to the exact size using the template glued on top of it or double stick tape on top of it. And then that allows me to get really fast reproductions of an item. So I use templates for various things, like, you know, I'll make my own templates like this. I've got templates that I use. Here's one that I actually purchased for making a guitar neck. So I use templates quite a bit because they're very handy, especially when you're creating repeatable projects. So anyway, that's why I made the template and why I can't get this back in there. There we go. So I used the template, made this. I'm probably going to make more of them in the future, but this is my first test. So I'm kind of doing all of the figuring out, and that's why I have a couple of, this is just extra piece of cherry that was milled up. It's the exact same size as the rest of the table. It actually is scraps from there. But this allows me to actually find out what adjustments I need to make. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this. I'm going to cut 2 more hinges. I can't test my theory out because I've already drilled holes for the hinges in this one. So I can't test my spacing. I have to actually go at it and do 2 new sets of holes to see if this is going to work. So what I will do is get myself some tape. First of all, I need 2 things of tape. So I'm going to grab just some frog tape because I love frog tape. Better than blue tape, painter's tape. If you ever doing any masking or anything like that, frog tape is the bomb. It is so good. But anyway, I use it for everything. So I'm just going to tape this stuff together for the moment here. And what I will do is this is the double-sided tape that I like to use, which is really good. I think I got it from Uline, and I've been super pleased with it. It's very thin, first of all, which you can buy a lot of different double-sided tapes. This stuff is super thin, which means that your template is closer to the wood surface, which is really what you want. If you use thicker tape, it has a tendency to shift and move just a little bit. I've got some thicker stuff that I've used in the past, and it's not bad. I use it for big pieces that I'm doing, which is this stuff, which is also Uline, but it's thicker. It's like carpet tape, and it's a little thicker, and I just prefer this stuff. Plus, this stuff comes on and goes off really easily. And so I really do prefer that. So let me just check my audio real quick to make sure everything's still working here.
A little bit. I've got some thicker.
Still working. Okay. All right. So really all I'm doing is I'm taping these pieces together here. Then I will take my template. And what I did on this template is, I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me go back to make sure this camera's on here. Is it on? No, because this camera likes to go off. I'm not sure why. Come back on. There we go. So on this template, when I actually did this on my CNC machine, I think you can see that. So I have these two little guide marks that are perfectly centered on the template. And there's one set here on this little square or rectangular portion. And that allows me to line up the wood right on there. So I'll take those little holes and put them perfectly on here. And that allows me to do that. So let's do this, go back to this one. I will switch cameras in a moment so you get a better idea of what I'm doing. I actually have a camera over here and another camera over here, which that's really not looking at anything. But anyway, when it comes time, I'll point a camera at what I'm doing, and that way you can watch as I do this. Let me find out where I want to put this. And I think that's probably good. So what I will do is I like to put my double-sided tape. I find that the side that actually gets the first sticky side without the paper backing. Pardon me, I'm going to grab my scissors. So the first paper side without the backing is actually the stickier side. And if you put that on your wood, you can actually pull up wood fibers when you remove it. So I prefer to stick the template to, or stick the tape to my template rather than my project, just so that I don't tear any wood fibers out of the project. That's probably going to be enough. If I put that on there like that, yeah, that's enough. Okay, so let me tell you what, let me point a camera so you can see what I'm doing, and we'll get you a better view here. So I'm going to take this camera over here, and let's point this down and get some close-up view here. There we go. Okay, so let me switch to this camera now, and that'll give you a little bit better view. There we go. All right, so what do I need to do here? I need to peel the tape off of here, the paper backing of the tape. I kind of just use, this is my marking knife, so I just use my marking knife to kind of peel that paper backing off of here. You just have to catch an edge. I don't have any fingernails really. So catch an edge with it and then just peel it off, and it's really simple. I'm going to line this up using my dots that I created that I showed you. I'm going to use those dots to put those perfectly, you know what, the wood grain is kind of hard to see here. Hang on a second. Let me just darken this wood grain up here. There we go. So I'm just running this right on the seam between the two pieces of wood, and it just allows me to see that a little better in here. Oh, that's much better. Okay. And I'm centering that, and right there. And I'm just going to press down on this, and that template is going to stay right there. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp this down to my workbench just so that it doesn't move while I'm routing it. I'm not using a big giant router bit or anything, but okay. So this, and you can see it's now attached right here at the clamp. That's not going to move. Now the other thing I need to do is I need to set the depth of this. And to do that, I actually have a little trick here. So this right here is a piece that came out of the middle of this pattern when I cut it out. But what it gives me is the exact depth of my template right here. So I can use that as a starting point for setting my bit. So what I will do is, hang on a second, let me point this up a little bit here so you can see it. I want you to be able to see kind of what I'm doing here. So there we go. All right. Go zoom out just a little bit here. All right, I think that'll give you a little bit better view right there. Pardon me for the rough camera work, but hopefully you get the idea here. So I have the piece of plastic from my template resting up here. So I know that's the thickness of my template. So I'm working with that. That's the thickness. And then from there, what I can do is take a hinge, one of my hinges right here, and I can but I can use that to now add to the thickness. So this depth right here to the top of this is how deep I need this router bit to go. So if I lower this down, I can check my blade or my bit depth, and it is actually just a little too deep. So I'm going to raise my stop here just a hair. Oh, that's a little too much. All right, let me test it again. So it's kind of trial and error. I could set up some stops. Now that's a little not quite deep enough. So now what I'm going to do is take the stop and lower it until I get just the right amount of depth where I'm clearing away the wood just deep enough to make this hinge flush with the surface. It's almost there, just a tiny bit more. That should do it. There we go, that's perfect. So basically, like I said, take the hinge thickness plus the thickness of the router template and use that to calculate how deep this needs to go. All right, and now raise this back up and probably change your camera angle one more time for you. Let's zoom back out now. All right. There we go. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put some earphones on because this gets really loud. And safety first. By the way, just so you know, when I'm doing all this, my router not plugged in, which I highly advise, because whenever you're messing with bits and stuff, if you accidentally hit that switch, God forbid, routers they can be very scary. So anyway, all right, let's go ahead and do some routing here. I'm going to plunge this in and then clear away the wood, and let's make a hinge, shall we? Okay, so let me clean out some of this wood here. And basically all I'm doing is I'm running back and forth to clean out all the wood. So hang on. All right, and you can probably... So I don't know if you can see, there's still a couple of pieces in here that need to be cleaned out. I didn't hit them all, so I'll just go back and finish routing those out. Hang on, let me clean this again. Okay, let's finish this up and get those rest of those little pieces out of there. All right, and hopefully you can see that I now have a very clean little pocket right there. Let me take the template off. Oh, there we go. All right, now you can hopefully see there's a nice clean pocket. Take the hinge and flip it around. You can see that that fits really nicely in there. So next thing I need to do is put some more tape on here, and I'm going to put some more tape on here and do the deeper pocket for the hinge, the actual hinge portion. The mechanics of the hinge, like I said, they have a about a 1/4 of an inch or so. And so that 1/4 of an inch needs a deeper route. And so that's why I've got this other section here that I use for that. So let me take, well, I guess I can leave that tape on there. Doesn't really matter. Just put a couple more pieces of tape on here. And then we will go ahead and route that section. We have to set the router up for that deeper portion. So when I'm routing, when I finish this and when I'm going to route all of my stuff, what I'll do is I'll set the depth for like this portion, do all of those, then go back, set the depth for the hinge portion of it, and then that will mean I have to adjust that that router bit depth a lot less, because that, if you have to go and do it for each individual one, switching back and forth, that's kind of a pain. So doing it this way is a little bit better. So, all right, another piece of tape right here. And let's go ahead and peel off the paper back. And you get good at this after a while. You kind of figure out exactly where to catch that edge. First couple times it's kind of frustrating, but you figure it out soon. So, all right, and this one, same thing. I've got those little alignment marks on there. I'm getting those lined up right on the line. But the other thing with this one is I have to kind of space it right. So, all right, I think that looks pretty good. Just get that down like this. All right, is this camera still on? It is still on. Okay, so you can see I've got this. This actually, it doesn't line up flush with this hole I just did. So basically I have to kind of, and this one's gonna be off just a hair. I didn't get it exact. I'll clean it up with a chisel, but anyway, it's not perfect, but it's close. And like I said, this is a test. So yeah, it is what it is. But what we do have to do for this now is, because we're going to that deeper portion, let me unplug the router here, because I'm going to make some adjustments on this. And there we go. Get my setup block here and in my hinge, because I need to figure out how much deeper this router bit needs to go for this little section right here. So same thing as before, measure that. And I'm about, I don't know, 3/16. So what I'll do is I'll lower my stop here by about that much. Let's see if that's close now. Nope, not even close. Need about this much more. And now we're getting closer. Tiny bit more. This is a great little router, by the way. It's a Bosch Colt. And it is a great tiny, I don't like using big routers for doing like inlay stuff like this. That's pretty good right there. Big routers are just, I mean, they're just too unwieldy for little tiny work like this. And I love doing inlays, especially if I'm doing bow ties and things like that. I actually have templates for those, and I will definitely use this smaller router for that. It's the Bosch Colt. It's a little 1 horsepower, but it's great. I bought the plunge attachment for it, and got to tell you, it's pretty awesome. So let me check just to make sure.
Pretty good right there.
All right, everybody's still good here. Let me just make sure there's no questions or anything before I do this last part. Nope. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Plug it back in, put my ears back on. Okay, ears in. Let's go back to the view here, and let's do this little section right here. Can you see it better with this one? Oh, wrong camera. That one's off. Okay, let's go with this one right here. Sorry about that. All right. Oh, did I not plug it in? Yeah, I plugged it in. All right. Okay, and I find that it kind of helps to clear this wood chips away periodically because otherwise it kind of clogs up and it's hard to clean up the rest of it. So. All right, I got one more little spot here and then we can test fit. And clean this up. All right, so we've now got a much cleaner pocket. I'm gonna have to clean this out with a chisel real quick. Hang on just a second while I grab my chisel. I have to walk all the way around and in front of things and around things because it's just the way things are set up right now. So let me grab a chisel, and once we pick this up, I'm just going to clean the edges. The other thing is that because I'm using a bearing guide right here, that bearing guide is has a little bit of a, it's round, and I'm kind of almost square here, so you're going to get some rounded corners in there. It's just kind of the way it is, but not too bad. So I'm going to do a little cleanup on the edges right here. Yeah, I was off on my alignment just a hair. So off just a little bit. Hopefully that's not crazy loud for you all. I'm sure it is. All right, that's pretty good right there. I think that gets everything. And you hit it with the vacuum one more time. Just a little bit of cleanup right here. All right, a little better. So that's pretty clean right there. You can see that actually, is that gonna drop in there? So this is where, like I said, I need some spacing in here. So I'm gonna do this, and I'll tell you what, if you give me what I'm not quite prepared here, because I don't have my playing cards out here. So if you give me just one moment, I'll be right back and we can actually check this out to see what that's going to be. So hang on just one moment. Okay, and I'm back with my Hoyle playing cards. So here's the plan. This is kind of what I'm looking at doing. I'm going to do one more of these hinges though. I'm not going to do it just yet, but I just wanted to kind of show you what the thought process is. And that is that I want to take these cards, and I don't know if it shows it better from here. Let me see. So I'm going to take these cards and figure out 1, 2, how many do I need? This does not belong in here. How many I need to separate this wood from each other to get a decent spacing for this hinge. And that's, you know, I want them still to be tight, but that just provides a tiny bit of spacing that allows this hinge to interact with the wood in the exact location it needs to, so that it can close properly. But when it's open, that it will be open so that it's not kind of bowing, so that it opens perfectly flat. And if I put it in just like this, it's going to be a little too close. So there's going to be a little gap, but that's okay. Ooh, I think that might be perfect. 3 might be the deal. I got 3 over here. I have 3 of them over here. All right, so there is going to be a little bit of a gap here when I do this, but 3 might actually be the ticket for this. So what I would do is line it up here, and then, yeah, I think that might work. Let me see here. And you can just, you know, that's the thing. It's playing cards. Just add more, find out what's going to work. So that, I think, is 4 cards. I don't know if that's going to be too much. It may not be. Because I need to have my, and so there's going to be a little bit of a space between where the hinge pocket is and where the hinge is. And that's okay. I don't mind if there's a little bit of space right there, because I need the front of the hinge to line up with the table right here. And that's been my problem. So if that front of that hinge lines up with the table, then we're in good shape. I think 4 might be the magic ticket there though. And also, I'm not going to drill all 6 holes this time. I did that before. If we can see over here on this, I'll change the view so you can see. I drilled all of the holes because I was like, oh, well, yeah, let me just check and make sure. So I drilled all the holes here. Well, the problem is when I drilled all the holes, now I have no place to, I can't re-drill. If I just move it a tiny bit and want to re-drill those holes, they're gonna overlap, and then I won't get accurate. So what I'll probably do is I'll test this. I will drill 2 sets of holes, you know, 1 on each side, check the fit, and then if that doesn't work, I'll add some cards or take some cards away. Then I'll drill 2 new holes using 2 different places. Try that. And so I try to be a little smarter when I do my stuff this time. But anyway, let me take this out of here and drill 1 more hinge. I should have actually done this before, and I didn't, but let me get this lined up, get my tape back on here. I have to get this tape flat because, there we go. Well, this tape doesn't need to be flat. This one does. All right, let me get this right here. Why is this? There we go. Okay, I'm going to drill 1 more right here. Not drill, but route 1 more right here. And that should give me enough, and I should be able to use, hopefully I can still use the tape that's on here. So a lot of times, depending on what I'm doing, I can actually get away with not having to use more and more tape on there. But I am going to mark this hole with a better pencil than that. Can I get a better pencil than that, please? Maybe right here. There we go. Just so I can see my middle line there through that template guide. All right, here we go. And hopefully this will work. Let's see. Is that going to work? Oh yeah, that's not going anywhere. All right. I might have to retape again when I go to do the smaller hole, but for right now, that will work. So once again, I have to set this back up because I was silly and didn't do these at the same time. So let me go ahead and get my setup block. which is hiding from me at the moment. Where's my setup block? I don't know. Oy vey. Let's go back to this camera. That's the problem with using clear stuff, though, is that it's easy to lose track of it because it's clear. Where'd it go? Where are you? There's the hinges. All right. Well, interesting. I seem to have misplaced my setup block here, which makes it a little bit more difficult for, oh, there it is. It was actually under the hinge here. Okay. Whew. But yeah, having a clear, it kind of just disappears into things. So maybe I should color it or something. I don't know. Anyway, let me set this back up again. Yeah. And I know you're like, well, you already have it set for the one. Why don't you route the one and then go back and do the other one? For me, it's easier if I actually have the, if I do the large pocket first, it's easier for me to align for the smaller pocket. So, all right. Ooh, that was pretty close. That was really close on that one. I just need to lower this just a tiny bit. There we go. All right, let's plug this in and let's crank this up, get this pocket done here. And I always forget which way is easier. This way is better. There we go. Need my ears. Okay, and we're set up over on that camera over there, number 2. I think that's a good view. Yeah, we'll start with this one. All right. Yep. Sorry about that. All right, that is a good pocket there. And we need one more pocket here. See if I can use this tape again. Pushing my luck with the tape, but for expediency's sake, I think that's pretty close right there. I think so. All right. One more use out of this tape would be awesome. And let me just set this back up again. Okay. Get my setup. And I'm going to go ahead and lower this just a little bit more. Maybe. Try that. Okay. And not quite enough. So I need about 1/8 of an inch. About there. See if that's better. Almost. Really close. Try that. Okay, that gets me right where I need to be. Plug back in, and let's get that other pocket done here. Then we can do some testing. There we go. All right, do one more here. My laptop died. Hello, laptop. What's going on here? Oh, there we go. Hang on a second, let me just check to make sure. All right, everything's good. Twitch. Everybody looks good here. No comments, but that's okay. All right, let's go back and finish this pocket out here, shall we? Okay, actually, I think that is pretty good. I might have to just kind of, no, that's actually pretty good. I got everything cleaned out of that pocket. And let's check it. Oh, look at that. I only had to use tape one time on there. That's awesome. Let me check the hinge here. So it fits perfect there. And then right here, I need to clean up these edges. So the only, like I said, the only problem I have with this is sometimes the edges are just not quite perfect. So, but that's, you know, that's chisel. Little chisel work, and that does just fine. And actually the corners are just a hair rounded, so usually I square those up. And doing all that usually is enough to get the fit just right. Let me try. And see if I can just, there we go, just kind of chop this out here like that. Do the same with this one. Like I said, I'm just trying to get the fit on this one right now. So, and it's the spacing that I'm worried about. So all of this other stuff doesn't have to be quite perfect. Let's clean this up real quick. But let me clean up all these chisel little marks and pieces right here. And I think that might be good. Okay. All right. So now this should fit much more better, which is awesome. The only thing I didn't, hang on a second. Let me get this corner right here on this one. There we go. I think the other corners are pretty good. So what I want to do is try my playing card theory now and drill some holes, put some screws in, see how this is going to work here. So I need to take the tape off, and I don't need it attached to the table with a clamp. And so let me get my drill, and I should have my bit here. So this, I believe, is called a VIX bit, and if you don't have one, you are missing out. Let me see if I can show you. Get this camera right here. So this bit right here is made for routing, or not routing, made for doing basically like hinges and things like that. And it centers your drill bit, so it lives inside of this little spring compartment right here. And what it does, you can see that springs back and forth, but it centers right on your hole so that when you drill, you're drilling right in the center. Have you ever tried to mark the center of a hole and you're off by like just a hair, but by the time you're done with all the holes, everything's off a little bit, and it does this fixes that. And you can buy these really inexpensively. You can get them on Amazon or wherever. They're great though. So I'm going to put one in here, and I'm going to get another one, pardon me, right here. And we're going to put these in, and then I'm only going to drill holes. I'm going to drill like 2 holes. I need some more tape, and I need my playing cards now. And I'm going to start with my playing cards and see if we can get these things perfectly aligned. I mean, I don't want a huge space like this. I just need enough space for these hinges to function absolutely perfectly, so that when this tabletop or the legs are open, that they are perfectly flush and flat. They're flat. You could lay a ruler across and it's touching all the way across here. I don't want it to be pulled up just a little bit, which is what was happening before. So let me try, you know what? I'm going to try 1 hole, 3 playing cards. How about that? I think 3 playing cards might be the play here. Let's try. So there's 3 playing cards down there, and there's 3 playing cards down here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape these together a little bit, just so that I get that spacing correct and keep it so it doesn't shift on me. Let me move this out just a little bit. There we go. So just squeeze them together on those cards. All right. I think that's good. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get these centered, not in the hole, but on the, so let me see, 3? Do I want 3 or do I want 4? All right, I'm going to try 3 to start with. I'm going to go with, I'm going to center this in the slot here. I'm going to drill one right here. I'm going to drill one right here. Do the same thing over here, centering it in the slot. Centered. Hang on a second, I got a little dirt and stuff in my bit here. It does get clogged a little bit, so. There we go. All right. Do this again. Got that one centered. Do one right here. All right. Now we can put some screws in these. Let's see if our spacing is going to be good. So I'm using some like stainless steel screws here so that the other ones have brass, so I just like to use the stainless steels just to, and those aren't tight yet. Okay, those are tight, but I need 2 more, so hang on just 1 second. As I come over to my little tool box over here and grab a couple of more screws. I didn't need them before, but I do need them now. So let me just find a couple of worthy substitutes here for the ones that I'm using. And because I only needed two because I was testing before, one on each end of the screw. But all right, let's do the same thing over here. These aren't quite the same screws, they're a little different, but I think they'll work. Sorry about that, that's really loud, isn't it? It's obnoxious. All right, so taking the tape off now, but I think it did the same thing. I can see when I tightened them down, it bowed the table just a tiny bit, which that's what I'm trying to avoid. So I might need more. Let's see, is it going to be quite flush? Nope, not quite. This one looks good. Well, actually, hang on. This one's not tight. So let me get this tight. There we go. All right, so this hinge is now tight. This hinge is tight, and it's not quite exactly where I want it to be. So you can see right here, it's just like it's not quite flush. Like if I can push down on it and it's flush right here. But otherwise, yeah. So, am I still broadcasting here? I think I am. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I lose that picture and I don't realize how long it's been out. And also, so what happens is also it catches a little bit right here. It's just like a little hard to make that transition right there. But you can see it's not quite closing on this side. This side looks fine, but this side's not quite. And I think that's because, once again, I'm just a little far from the edges here. So I'm going to try, I will unscrew these and then try a couple of different screw placements. But I'm going to use I'm going to add some more playing cards to get this spaced just right. So I'm thinking maybe, oh, you know what, those other screws right there. I'm thinking maybe I'm going to go too far the other way now. So that was with 3. So I'm going to try 5. Let's try 5, which might be a little too much, seems like, but you never know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 playing cards on each side. And then drill some new holes. And we're going to try this again. Now that actually might be a little bit closer to where I need to be. I think that actually is going to be closer to where it needs to be. 5 is looking promising. Put these right next to the hole here. So 5's looking very promising. Tape this back up. And I'm blowing through some tape today, I tell you what. All right, and right here. Okay, so now let's see if I'm gonna do a couple of different holes than the ones I just did. And I have to because they won't be lined up. They're lined up with the old spacing, not the new spacing. So let me clean this out. And all right, I think that's good. All right, I'm going to try this one right here. And I'm going to go ahead and screw this one in so that it holds this space, and that way it doesn't shift when I drill again. I think that might have been a problem with the other one too. So let me try that. Okay, so I've got that one in. This one, now I can drill directly in, and it seems like it's going to be good right there. It doesn't seem like it's trying to pull up as much. So let's try this one in the space here. Okay. All right, that actually seems a lot better. By the way, if you care, these are Makita. 12. These are only like 12 volt, but they're great. They're small. They work really nicely. I've got a charger for it. It came with a kit for like 2 batteries, the driver and the impact driver, and I use these things all the time. I mean, I know that the people like buy the 12 volt or the 24 volt and stuff, or the 20 volts. I've never really needed any more than this. So I've been really happy with this one. So I don't know if 20 volts is something that everybody should have or needs. I've always done fine with the 12 volts and they've been really good. All right, let me do the same thing with this one. Let me drill 1 hole in here, puts a screw in. Gonna put the screw in here, and then we will drill the 2nd hole. And I'm hoping this 5 card thing is the ticket. So let's drill 1 more hole now. That one's in tight. We're gonna do 1 more hole here and clean out my bit just a little bit. Get it? A little bit. That's funny. Oh, this is not tight though. Let me get this tight. There we go. So I don't want any play when I'm drilling this. I want it to be exactly spaced where it's supposed to be. Like that. And 1 more. And let's see if this is a winner. If not, I do have 1 more set of holes that I can try this with. So is that in all the way? I think that's a little loose. Hang on. There we go. All right. Everybody's tight. I believe so. I'm going to take the tape off. Ooh. Cards out. Oh, table flat. Yeah, so looky there. Now it's, I mean, it's got just a, is it a hint? Is it even a touch? I don't know. That looks pretty darn flat. It's pretty good. It's touching in the back here. I mean, that's kind of what you want, right? It opens easy. That's what I needed to do. Yeah, that I think is a winner. 5 or 4. See, now I'm curious. 4, would 4 work? I went from 3 to 5. I went from 3 to 5. Would 4 work? Oh, and is there still some spacing issues here? Because it just seems hinges shouldn't be this hard, right? It's a hinge. It really shouldn't be this hard, but maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe just check to make sure I don't have any comments coming in here, just to make sure. Nope, nobody wants to say anything. That's okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's really darn close. You know what? Where's my spacing the most off? It's probably on this one. It's pretty darn close. I'm just thinking I might go 4. I might do 4 next time. Let me put another screw in here. Now that I've got this one, I'm going to put 1 more screw in. Just to see what that looks like. And is that a round one? Do I have another round one over here? Yeah. Kind of try to use all the same screws so I don't have any other variables in here to mess with. And yeah, so. So I mean, you know, it looks pretty darn good to me. So I think I'm good to go ahead and start doing my tabletop here, or not my tabletop, but my legs. And that's kind of what's been holding me up here is, well, I've been waiting to share the process with you all, but really that I think is going to be just what I needed to make this look good. So I can go ahead and take these out, take all the screws out, blah, blah, blah. And then set up, what is it? 2 o'clock. So I'll tell you what, I will save this for the next time. We will get set up. And since this was basically a test stream today, proof of concept, I think I've got all the audio and stuff worked out. I don't even know what I've got for battery left on my transmitter here. Not too bad. So I think what we can do is, let me switch back over to 1. I will go ahead and save the legs, the first set of legs for getting hinges till the next stream, which would be Friday. Or no, not Friday, Monday. This is Friday. So Monday, we will, hopefully you all will come back and join me, and we will do that. I'll tell you what I will do though. I'm going to do one thing because we missed out on my, the first couple of stream tests that I did. We didn't really get things go off to a good start audio wise. And by we, I mean I. So let me see if this camera's on right here. I got to figure this camera out too, because it should not do this. But anyway, there it is. Okay. So there's my little webcam there. That's my GoPro. It should stay on all the time. I don't know why it keeps going off because it's on battery power. But that being the case, I'm going to give you a real quick tour because I did this before and it didn't work out. So let's do a real quick tour right here. And I'm going to start things off over in this corner down here. And this is a very small shop, by the way. I work in half of a 2-car garage, which is basically a 20 by 20 box. So I'm operating in about a 10 by 20 space. So down here, I've just got a lot of miscellaneous stuff. That's where all my hand planes and stuff are over there. I've got little projects stuffed everywhere. So we'll get to these as time goes on. Over in this corner over here, this, there we go. That is my Delta Cruiser crosscut saw. Compound miter. It's an amazing saw. It's really good. I love that. Over here, this is my Inventables X-Carve. I've got the 750 by 750 model. They don't make this one anymore. I just found out the other day, they only make a 1000 by 1000 and then they're pro models. And the 1000 by 1000, that's millimeters, would have been way too large for my shop. So I'm glad I got this one. This is perfect for me. It does a lot of things and it's great. So, whoa, let's go over this way. Next to that, I've got my bandsaw over here. And this is just a Craftsman 14-inch open bottom stand bandsaw. I can, if I really push it, I can put a 3/4 inch blade on there. But I really want to get a better saw because I want to do more resawing, and I don't have a lot of vertical on that one. I've got, you can see right there, I've got maybe 7 inches of vertical. I mean, I've got the 14 inches, which is actually the distance from the blade to the stand on to the left riser over there. But I want more vertical space to cut in because I want to do resawing. So on the upgrade list is a new bandsaw. You know, it'll probably cost me about $1,000, so that's gonna be a while. So next to that, I actually have my drill press. That is a Craigslist purchase. A lot of my tools started out as Craigslist purchases. Next to that over here, you can see it right there. That is my rigid 6-inch jointer, also a Craigslist buy, and that thing is great. But that's also on the upgrade list because I want to get a combination jointer planer, and I want a 12-inch jointer planer combo with a helical head. Cha-ching! That's $2,500 to $3,000 right there, but that's what I want. So one day, hopefully, and it takes up basically the same amount of space, which is awesome. Over here, you can see that little cart right there that I'm pointing to. That's actually a flip-top cart. So on the top, behind all those boxes that I've got there, is my 12-inch disc sander that I got from Harbor Freight. It actually is one of the good tools I bought from Harbor Freight. And then underneath there, if you flip it, is my, my planer, which is a 12-inch planer. Also Harbor Freight, also not that bad. So you can get some decent stuff from Harbor Freight. you can also get some garbage from Harbor Freight, just saying. Over against this wall, this table right here, I made this for my lathe. So that's my Nova Comet 2 lathe. It's a small lathe, but it does exactly what I need it to do, along with the little Rikon slow speed grinder over there for sharpening all my bits. I've got stuff stored pretty much everywhere. You can see I've got logs over here that I'm going to turn into things one day. Right here, this is my Delta table saw that you can't see. It's down underneath there. You can see there's a table saw. But yeah, this thing's great. I got it from Lowe's. And it has a T-square fence on it right here. So that's really one of the big features that I wanted on it. It also had an extension wing on here, not an extension wing, but it's got this long wing right here. So not only can I cut very wide pieces on here, but I also put a router table into it. So that's my own router table that I made into that. And that's awesome. And I use it all the time. I will not exist without a router table anymore. It's just way too handy. But this, I'm hoping one day will be a saw stop. That's kind of my hopes and dreams. But anyway, and down below here is my dust deputy hooked up to a rigid shop vac. That's my dust collection for right now. Also would like to upgrade that one day, but it is what it is. And then down here is my workbench. And this was one of the first really big projects that I built. And this thing is built to last for generations. So it's very cool. So anyway, it's a quick shop tour. Like I said, I work in a very small space. I do some big stuff in very small spaces. And there's a lot of people out there who are doing the same thing. So just don't think if you've got a small space that you can't be a woodworker and you can't do it, because you can. You can start with some small tools and you can work your way up and be successful and make things. Even if you're doing things like, I don't know, making cutting boards and charcuterie boards and all those kind of things, which are super popular. And really, you know, from a woodworking standpoint, not that hard. It's a great entry point to get into it. Every woodworker makes a cutting board at some point in time in their career just because you kind of have to. It's just one of those things. So anyway, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. That's where my shop is. There's really no expansion here. So my plan is to be as, economical with my space as possible, and which means doubling up on things, using flip-top carts, getting machines that do more than one thing, like a jointer and a planer, because I love to mill my own wood. So yeah, so that's kind of the way my shop is laid out. I have plans to make some changes over the years to come. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, but I think I can still make it work even in this small space. So, all right, so that's it for today. You all have a great weekend. Thanks for stopping in, and I will see you in the shop next week.